Okay, we are going to do this because this came up in a YouTube video. No, came up in Reddit. Was it this past week? And also I'm checking the time. All right, I got some time before lunch. All right, let's do this in order though. So, except for this last collector's edition, most of the boxes for Final Fantasy XIV collector's boxes that came with the game used to come with, well, in the case of the first one, it came with a music sample, came with an art book, our collector's edition art book, and some other stuff, right? So someone was asked about collecting the art books and also about those art box, the boxes, and I kind of tried to explain that there's overlap and uh, probably as a whole, if they're really expensive, it's not necessarily worth like breaking your bank to get them. But I want to show you these books. So for some reason, I never got. Did I get the first box? No, I did not get the first box because I got the 1.0 box, and then I didn't play this game because my hardware never kept up. So I went back over the last couple years, and on eBay I found two different editions. I'm not really even sure what happened. Maybe I was just forgetful. So this was the ARR 2.0 launch book. I think what happened is I picked up one that might have been from Japan and then one from the US because back then we used to run two different printers and the art books have subtle differences in the paper. And then this one is they're both hard copy, which is really nice. But as you can see, this one came with dust covers and one's very glossy and one's matte. Usually the matte, I think at the time, was done in Japan and then the glossy was in the US. And part of it has to do with the, oh yeah, so if you see, yeah, they don't even have the same exact, well, these two are similar. So it could also be that there was a reprint. So I'm going to assume that other than the paper, I'm going to just pick one to go through so you guys can see. All right. Oh boy. So one thing I don't like is this camera has bad autofocus. And honestly, to do a YouTube upload, I might have to redo this with better camera. But one thing I do like is that they put credits for the art team. I don't know if all these people are still there. Well, there's Akihiko Yoshida. He's a lot younger there. And Ayume Name. So yeah, these names are still around. Some of these other ones I'm not sure. Ueda. And then they have, the racial profiles. And one thing that's a little different with some of the later art books is that what I was trying to explain is sometimes what you would see is you might see for the summaries and the books is you might only see like this and a headshot. In this case, see they're not really distinguishing between there's two kinds of heroes. It's not mentioned here, but you could see Midlander and Highlander. This is hey, this is my character's hair. Highlander, Midlander. So there's probably more pictures in here. And one thing I like about the Lalafell picture in here is you see the allusion to 11 Lalafell, because 11 Lalafells have that browner nose. This is also more 11, but you see how it evolved, right? Yeah, some of these remind me of 11 art. So there's different, look at this Makoti art's different. And the rose. Okay, so then there's art that I'm not sure if we see very much after. Like, I don't know if this comes up very much in other art that I've seen. Look at that gladiator. Not paladin, gladiator, archer, marauder, lancer. So then you see some of the weapons that they planned in the leveling. So this might be the only time, and we'd have to look at the 1.0. There's two 1.0 books or one 1.0 book. I'll have to check it later to see if these ever appeared again. Thaumaturge, Arcanist. So these are the names before they all changed. These didn't change, but some of the classes later become Arcanist to Summoner, right? Okay, these are the jobs. So this is at level, was it 25 then or whatever, 30, we started to specialize. There's Paladin. Okay, so these are the level 50 versions. And this art, a lot of you have seen before, although, again, when they publish this in the other books, sometimes you see female only or male, and you wouldn't see all these side views. So like, for example, I really love this weapon. You might not find all those views. Okay, location. So this art tends to repeat. Almost always we see this again. But look, hey, there's Merlwyb. Would we have seen this in here like this? Probably not. But these are the figures of Ulda. So there's Nanamo and, you know, Roban, Kani-sana, and the twins are part of the White Mage quest. Not the twins, the siblings. So for completionist, so what I like about here is look, there's Ishgard. This is Ishgard before we ever got there, and that's what's pretty interesting to me is I've not seen this particular render of Ishgard. I'll have to check some of the other books to see if it's in there. So again, for completionist, someone might really want all this little, like all these developmental scans. I don't know, but look at this. Look how cool they look. And then, yeah, I mean, would you have seen this in the other art book? Maybe not, because some of these are incidental mobs inside the dungeons. So that's why I like this book a lot. I think this one is the most interesting because they had to show us what was coming, right? And so here are the 24 man. So this is probably really exciting for them because this was new. So I started playing 2.0 towards the end of the cycle. I think I was there at when the second 24 man was introduced and then the third one dropped and then I got dragged in a lot to get the gear to get ready. So there's a cloud of darkness. And so I think this probably was very exciting when they got the book and they saw this. Again, I don't know that these would ever be reproduced again. Some of these illustrations I have not seen this one. Yeah, I've not seen this one actually in a lot of subsequent art. I'll have to look at the calendar book that came out with a lot of illustration. But this is an illo I haven't seen very often. Odin Bahamut. I mean, this is like a big leak when you got the box. Like this is pretty exciting. So they knew about this when the drop happened, and they waited for all this stuff to show up, in level 50, which is kind of crazy. It kind of shows you, um, you know, what a new player would have seen now. Obviously, a lot of this might have been in 1.0. Miscellaneous chocobos. So the Moogle, this was something that featured in the benchmark trailers. You saw Moogle flying around in the world, and that I think was new. And of course, you have your minion art. And player housing, this is something that was coming. So I'm sure this was like a what, kind of like a what the heck moment. And this art we've seen, this art we've seen. I'm not sure about this. And some of this I'm not sure I've seen again. So this is cool. This is the box art. Lodestone Yellows. So as a CE book, this is probably the one I would get because I think this has the most to say to someone who's collecting stuff. Heaven's Word. So I didn't get the box because I started playing right before this. So I had to go back and hunt down the book. It's not in the best shape. Uh, Yikes, the binding is already kind of cracking, which is scary. Um, I don't know where this came from, but there's our team again, which is nice. And then you have the racial. Yeah, this book is really in trouble. I'm pretty sure some of these we saw. These are the old cards as we know them. This is the job gear. Again, the versions that you find in the art books that are sold with the minions may not have had all of these side views. This is quite detailed. So, for someone trying to maybe put together a costume and cosplay, they might have to also ask someone for their um, for the scans of this book. I'm going to go through this more quickly. Yeah, so some of these, I don't think we would have had these sketches. I've seen part of these ills in the book though. But his pants, his boots, I don't know. Yeah, look at this. Like, would you have seen this deconstruction without the mustache? Probably not. So that's why I do like these, is that sometimes you find small gems. Um, so it's helpful to have the no mustache, no beard shot. And then some of these environmental pieces might or might not have appeared later. So yeah, I do like these. These are spoilers to some extent. Some of these people have forgotten about these lions and the gold saucer. It's cute. I like some of this, just some of the art that they're prefacing and showcasing. I mean, for me, this is one of the reasons I would have wanted this box set, is because I want those books. Okay, Storm, what's next? So there's a, I don't know if this one was missing a dust cover. It's possible, but from here on out, you see there, I think this one is one I actually got. I got the box for this, and there's no dust cover on it. Now you see a shift towards stills. I do like that there's a intro in here. I do like that they immediately show you what's new. It's the jobs. Oh, sorry. Let me see if this one we can back up just a little bit. Look at that. So this is what I like. Again, more construction pieces. They're showing you about how certain things work. So whoever designs this, what I like that it's, you see it's a 2D sketch that they start with, explain how it holds off the body. What's hilarious about the samurai, this is Yoshi P. I swear. I think maybe they had to design the costume or something, and I feel like that they did that. Um, oh, it could be Derplander too. So okay, weapons, but some of these are different. You know, some of these are done by different people. You can tell. I think this is Mogi. I think he did this. That looks like how Mogi draws. You can see the different designers because you can see how flat some are and some are a little bit more rendered. I don't know if that's Mogi or somebody else. All right, so we're going through just to show you again what's in here. Maybe someday somebody like, you know, I know that there's a rendering out there, but where? And it might be only in this book. Okay, minions. Now here's more Lee stuff. So I guess this is a spoiler. If you at this point open up and said, well, yeah, well, we kind of knew it was Lise at some point, but um, and she's in the trailer, so it's not a big spoiler, but it is kind of a spoiler. Um, what I do like is you can see the front, and then what's important is the back. So you can see the construction of this gown, and then they give a side view. Very cool. Yeah. So this, I like these. I think her art is really cool. She looks cool. She looks kind of tough and a little bit scary. Han actually looks a little bit more macho in his rendering, which I find funny because I think he lost something in the 3D translation. All right, so then these are Alamigo, and these are not incredibly colorful. I'm not sure. Again, these are probably more construct, you know, to help people render the scenery. Um, more of a concept, which is whether or not, which is why I say they're a little bit more more or less not very detailed. They're detailed enough to give a visual view. Ruby C, this looks really cool. Kugane, which you know can tell you can tell there's different kinds of people who do concept art. Um, like this is started as a line drawing. This I think this person blocks digitally. It's very interesting. All are valid approaches. Again, 3D views, the new Etherites, the enemies. Okay. So these arts we've seen a lot. They often get repeated. And okay, so this is cool. I don't think this shows up in a lot of art books. There was two for Stormblood. So this is inside the helmet. What does it look like? And that's helpful again if you're trying to understand how to draw it, but also if you decide to later render it. And Omega. And that's probably a question mark. We probably knew he was coming. All right, this is Stormblood. All right, so this is the last book that they produced, sadly. Um, and this is a trend that I didn't really understand, is that they have stills in here, and they've moved. This is trailer. Personally, I don't really care about that stuff. They didn't need to do it. So this is nice. This is, Vieira, which we were long waiting for, and the Rothgar. So I like that they're leading off with the races. And this is kind of cool because you see more than one view. This illustration of Gunbreaker is really cool. Why did you include that? I don't need to see that. That's filler. Again, I don't care about the 3D stills, the stay in cred, player attire. So there's differences because his is light, yours is dark by default. This we saw. Again, I don't really like the fact that they include the 3D. Who cares? I can see that in the game anytime. I prefer to see as a art book collector. I prefer to see the artist rendition. Now, I didn't love the gear in here. I felt like the Heaven's Sword was probably one of my favorites. These are all variations. They just look more ornate. I don't know that they were necessarily inventing anything new. Monk gear looks cool. Everything else in here is like, eh, eh. I like the older ones better. Black Mage is funny. Oh, of course, the crafter gear always is so good. It was so steampunk. I liked it. So I enjoy whoever puts these together. Appreciate, and in this book at least you see more pieces of what they wear. And the minions. That's cute. Okay, so this I find interesting. Minfilia. Not Rin, but Minfilia, so they were careful about that. That's cute. So these, I think, are arts that they showed in some of the early live letters. I'm not sure that there were huge spoilers when this showed up. This is interesting. They were hinting at something. So if you saw this, you probably would be like, "What is this?" But you would learn pretty soon. So yeah, I don't know that these are spoilers. We kind of knew there was some kind of weird angel in there. We just didn't have the context. So people knew who he was, but not how. The dwarves, Mo. So this I would say was not as spoilery. Let's see other books. This I love how they here continue the tradition of putting Amano's illustration at the back. Although when I looked at this, I kept thinking, oh my god, that looks like Odin. We look like we're Odin. So that unfortunately was the last of the art books. Uh, and I guess what can I say? It's too bad. It's too bad that they didn't continue this with Dawn Trail. I've noticed that um, the Dawn Trail CE, physical CE, did not sell out like any of the others, and they in fact were trying to offer for sale. And unfortunately, with no art book, I'm a no go because I don't really care about anything else in there. I don't like the figures. I don't think they're usually made well anymore. The last one that was made well, I think, was the Stormblood one, sadly, the Xenos one. And then after that, I felt like the quality went down. So, all right, that's it for this video. So let me stop this recording.